So in this video, we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at just some of the basics of Google Forms and how to edit a form, how to create a form, just some of the real nuts and bolts of it. So basically, to create a form, it's very simple. You just go to your Google Drive. You can also go to forms.google.com, but I recommend Drive just because it's where you're going to have everything organized. And you just go to the New button, and you're going to go ahead and scroll down to the More because usually Forms is not going to be on that pull-down menu. So we're going to go to More, and then we're just going to go ahead and click Google Forms. And if your account is managed by someone else, you may have some additional warnings. But this is the actual form. Now, this is only one part of the form because there's actually multiple parts that get created with a Google form, and we'll go into all of those here in a second. Um, but first off, just some of the things you need to be aware of. You have right here in the middle, you have the primary field. This is where you're going to edit or enter anything in for the forms. And then at the top and at the bottom, you have some additional items you need to be aware of. So you have form settings here. Here, we'll give you the option to shuffle the questions, maybe show a progress bar. Because the account that this form is created under is actually a education managed account, I actually have some specific options that will restrict this form only to people for within my district. And I can even make it to where only one person can respond, which would require them to have to log in. So some of those options may or may not be available to just general Google, Gmail accounts. You also have your confirmation page. You can give a custom message here. This is your default. It's pretty much always going to be there. You can allow them to submit another response, even access their results. Or you can allow them to edit the responses afterwards, go back and change something. Uh, but the main thing we want to look at here is we want to look at what's in the middle. So this is our actual form. And what you'll notice is there's a few things you need to be aware of. First off, you'll notice it says untitled form. Well, obviously we haven't put a title in, so let's go ahead and let's change that. Let's just say that this is the sample form. And you'll notice that the title up here changed as well with it. And now this has also populated. So you will need to put a title with your form. That is very important, and that's for something I'm going to be showing you in a little bit later. But this is the general entrance of the questions or anything you want to put in here. Now there are multiple different questions, and if you look down here where it says add item, you can actually see what's available. We're not going to actually hit that button add item, but next to it there's that little arrow button, and that's what we're going to look at. So if we click the arrow button, you can see everything that's available to be added in this case. I can add a text question. I can add a paragraph text question, or basically a text question with a little bit more space for words. Multiple choice question where you enter in all your choices. Check boxes where they select multiple. Choose from a drop-down list. So you enter in the available options and they just choose one from that available list. And then some advanced ones that I'm not going to go into too much here. But also you have layout where you can insert things like a section header if you have things divided up into different sections, a page break where you can actually make them to where they make it to where they have to go to a separate page to continue your form, and then you can even insert a video and or an image. In this case, we went ahead. We have a multiple choice question here. The good news is if you ever have a question and you selected the wrong one, you don't actually have to delete it, which you would delete it using this button here. You'd actually can just change it, and I can change it to text or paragraph text or whatever I want to change it into. I just don't have the option to change it to a layout because this is a question. Um, so going with that, you have your question here, and this is going to be what you want the question to be. So let's go ahead and let's say, what is your favorite candy bar? So there's our question. Now, here's your question title, and here's your help text. Now, your help text is just basically anything you want to be or added onto that. Maybe you don't want them to answer in complete sentences. Maybe you just want them to select one. So in this case, you can just say help text. Please select only one. So I have that taken care of. So let's go ahead and let's enter in a few options here. So we have Twix. We'll go Snickers. We'll go Hershey's. We'll go Milky Way. We'll go Almond Joy. And we'll just stop there. That just gives us 5. That's a good number. And then you continue down. You can keep adding more. If you find one that you didn't want to have there, you can go ahead and delete it, or you can go back and you can change it. You can even sort them around and drag them around if you wish. You do have this advanced settings. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to skip that for now, just because it changes depending on the question that you choose, and so that would be something that would be good to check into, especially when you get into the text field. The advanced settings get very interesting. And then you have your required question here. This means if you check this box, this means they have to answer this question before they move on. This is very good for if you're trying to collect names or something like that, or you just want to make sure that everyone answers every question. That's a good box to have. So obviously if I click done, the question has now been entered. It's now a part of the form. So you notice every time I hover over it, it kind of grays out, and then over here on the right, you'll notice there are 3 options. You have edit. If I click that, it lets me change the question that's already established. We have duplicate, so if I wanted to make a copy of that question and then maybe just change a couple of words, that makes it real easy when it comes to formatting. And then we have obviously delete. So basically we have that's just kind of the basics of creating. But as I mentioned before, when it comes to an actual, I went ahead and I turned off this option to restrict it only to my district. So we only have one question here, but as I mentioned before, there are 3 parts to this actual form. This is the edit form. Okay, this is where you actually create your edit form. You can actually insert a bunch of different things. So, or you can take a look at a bunch of different things in here. You actually are able to change the background from here, but that's that's up here at your change theme, where you can actually change the theme or the background, make it colored or pretty, and let's face it, birthday cats, amazing choice. So we'll go with that one. Um, but that's just some of the basics that you can go with here. But there are 2 other things that we need to look at, because this is just the editing field. Now, the first one you have is you have the live form. So if I click on this button, it's going to open up a new tab. It's going to show the basically what your form actually looks like. Now, this is where someone can actually enter it. Okay, and this is also where you can get the link for sharing it with someone else. So I can highlight that link and I can copy it and actually paste it somewhere, such as a website, so people can go to this. And then they can enter it. Let's go ahead and let's enter this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select Twix in this case, and I'm going to click submit, and it just tells me my response has been recorded, and if I want to submit another one I can, but in this case we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip it. Because the next thing we need to look at, so we looked at the editing form, we looked at the live form. Well, where does all that information go? And that's where it comes up here to where it says view responses. You'll notice now it says responses 1. This used to say 0. If you rewind the video, you can see that. If I click view responses, you'll notice it brings up a Google Sheet. Now in this Google Sheet, you'll notice it has this row right up top. This row right up top, the first one's always going to be timestamp. In the event that you actually collect some login information, those will also be included here in the beginning. But eventually what will happen is you will get to your first question, and then from there on out, everything in this top row is going to be the question titles. So if I go back to the sample form here, you'll see there's my question title. What is your favorite candy bar? And you'll notice it's right there. You'll also notice that there is no mention of the please select only one. That's because that information stays only on the form. It's only where you can actually, where people can see it on the form. You can see it right there. It's only the question title that shows up in the actual spreadsheet. So, and then it'll record my answer. And then, this goes for if it's 1 question or 50 questions. All of your answers will show up here. Now, the one thing you do need to be cautious of is this being the collection of the data, you really don't want to mess with this page too much. If you want to edit or tweak or sort this page, it's strongly recommended that you either add a new sheet into this Google Sheet, or that you actually put it to another brand new Google Sheet. So you really don't want to mess with this page because it can actually mess up with your number or excuse me, data reporting. So those are the three things that actually a Google form actually is involved, and all three of these things work together basically to create this form, to create this collection of all that data. So hopefully in this video you have a little bit of an idea on how to create and enter some things in to a Google form, and you'll be willing to give that a try, so you can see if there's any potential way that you see might be able to use this either in your classroom or for any other purpose. So hopefully this video helped you out, and I hope you enjoyed it.